Welcome to G Unpopular Views podcast,
where we discuss culture, tradition, customs, political and social stories.
This Nwamitwa case, which I think for a longest time was referred to when people are referring to the Masindi and Toni Ramabulana's case, I hope now people understand that the Valoyi traditional authority, that is the Nwamitwa people, they have made a big mistake. They made a big mistake because they allowed Braamfontein, that is the constitutional court, which unfortunately they couldn't do much at the time. But going forward, I believe the Ramabulanas or any traditional authority should never stop fighting for that which they believe is correct in terms of their culture, custom and tradition, not based on the issue of the South African Constitution, because that Constitution cannot, yes, it's a supreme document, but it can never be the same document that is used to suppress our customs and tradition. Going back to the Nwamitwa case, the late Hosi, which I think the terminology of Hosi is wrong, because Hosi referred to a male figure, but she was called Hosi Nwamitwa, that is Filia Lwandamuni Shilobani Nwamitwa. The whole setup was a mess. One, she was called even a Hosi, not the Hosi card. It shows you the mess that our cultures are going through because of this constitutional supremacy that sometimes we interpret wrong. They're calling it a Hosi. She was not supposed to be a Hosi card. But that's beside the point. The point that I wanted to make in this video is directed to the VhaVenda. People that have been saying to me in most of my videos, no, the Nwamitwa case is a precedent. Look at what then happened at the Nwamitwa. Hosikati Filia Lwandamuni Shilubani Nwamitwa, who was married Kashilumani. She was married Kashilumani, have kids Kashilumani. The husband died some years back. She then in 2001-2 got her father's throne, Hosi Fofoza's throne, as hers, through Braamfontein, through the court, Concord. The issue with that is nobody within the family said, but court, as much you are saying she's heir to the throne, but that was not her throne. It's her father's throne, and her father is not his throne, is the family's throne. Hence, Makwabo of Hosi Fofoza, when Fofoza died in 1960-something, Hosi Richard Nwamitwa had to take over because he was next in line, or his mother's house was the next one in line, like Tony's house in the VhaVenda case. Hosi Richard took over the kingship. He led from that time until 2000-something. Excuse me. The only time then the issues became complex is after the death of Hosi Richard Nwamitwa. That's when Hosi Kati, the late Filia Lwandamuni, fought her cousin, that is the brother in our language, Butwayena, Mwana wa Hosi Richard. I think the name is Robert. That's where she fought him in court to say the throne belonged to her father. But the correct way that the Valoyi traditional authority should have done was, no, Richard Nwamitwa, Hosi Richard Nwamitwa was not a regent, was Hosi, because Bukosi va Hosi Fofoza abungari kona, because Fofoza balobe bangari na n'wana wa mfana na ndataka Buhosi va wisa mahlweni. That's tradition. So asungakoteki ku banga ku Hosi Richard regent, as is written in the document, akuri Hosi yo helela hiku akuri the next allowable house ya mhana vona leyi nga endla ku va Hosi ya ka Nwamitwa. I'm saying this thing so that we can get them in a context of VhaVenda. Most of the people are saying no, Masindi should take because it's a father. Look at that Nwamitwa case. It's your president case. This woman now, Hosi Philia Shilubani has passed away now. Her kids of Nkunas now, the Nkuna kids, the Shilubani kids, must come take over the Nwamitwa Valoyi Traditional Authority. What kind of nonsense that will be? How can a different household that is standing on its own, it's a tribal authority on its own, it's a traditional authority on its own, must now come and via the back door to take over the Valoyi Traditional Authority? How does that make sense? Make that make sense to me. I'm saying this to the VhaVenda people that are saying Masindi must take over her father's throne. You will have a problem. Because as I've said in many videos, it's not her throne, not because she's not the daughter of the late king. Because the throne belongs to the family. And this is what the Nwamitwa house should have done. And I think they successfully done in 1968 when they positioned or placed Hosi Richard Nwamitwa in place. The only problem became when these powerful politicians, in a case of Hosi Shilubani, that is Philia, used her political connection, and I say this, people might get angry, whatever. She used a political connection because one, she was a teacher, and she was also part and parcel of Yimoko Shaka, later on part of the ANC, later on member of parliament between 1994 and 1999 or 2000. That's when 2001 she became Hosi Nwamitwa, using political connection. It's a wrong process because we as Africans were losing our own selves because we want to do what we don't even understand. We are not England. We don't even know how they do the rituals. Now the question remains, the people of Nwamitwa now, are they going to be ruled by the Shilubani people? Because Banaba Hosi Philia Shilubani, they must come now take over the Nwamitwa house. That's absurd. That's messed up in many levels. This is exactly what should never be allowed to happen in that VhaVenda, in the VhaVenda Mphephu Ramabulana household. The worst thing is this one. The Mphephu Ramabulana is a paramount chieftaincy. It's a paramount chieftaincy. It's above, way above the Shilubani traditional authorities, above the Nwamitwa traditional house. Those are traditional authorities. While Mphephu Ramabulana is the kingdom. Imagine the damage this will do if it's already doing a damage in the tribal authority of Valoyi. I don't know how you're gonna come out of this. And I don't know how the Valoyi is going to deal with this, but they've made a big mistake back then. They should find a way to rectify it. But the Ramabulanas must never allow this. They must fight this over and over. It doesn't matter how, but they must never allow that to happen.